Peace be upon you, friends. With you is your friend Darum. I ask you to support the channel by subscribing, liking, and posting motivating comments and an enjoyable viewing experience for you. He said, "Who told you that I did not smoke before?" I said, "I've never seen you smoke before." He said, "I only smoke at night when you are locked up in the library." I said to him, "You did not tell me, Amar, why you locked me inside the library from sunset until sunrise before. Why? Do you think I will run away?" Amar laughed hard, raised his head, blew out a cloud of smoke and said, "Where are you going to run to with that devil outside?" I said to him, "Why then? Why do you close the door?" He said, "There are events that happen at night that I do not want you to see." I said to him, "Like what?" He said, "It is still too early to know." I told him, "Why do you only smoke at night?" He said, "Smoking during the day affects the corona." This was the first time I heard the term, aura. So I said to him, "What is aura?" He said, "One of the sources of my strength that made me stop that devil outside." Every person has it, but its strength varies from person to person. I said to him, "How do you know whether your aura is strong or not?" He said, "By examining it by a person with an activated aura." I said, "Is it activated?" He said, "Yes, they are activated." All auras, whether strong or weak, are in a dormant phase and you must activate them in order to benefit from them. I said to him, "Can you check my aura?" He said, "Your aura is very strong and I don't need to examine it." I said to him, "How did you know?" He said, "When you activate your aura, you can sense other auras." "Easily. Would you like me to do your aura?" I said, "I don't know. What will I benefit from?" He said, "You will see the world differently. Your sensory, mental, and physical abilities will double. You will be able to do things that you could not do before." I was silent and did not respond to him. He completed his speech and said, "Above all, you will find it easier to read and understand these books, and you will not feel tired or want to sleep much. Even with a little training, you will control your dreams and, in advanced stages, the dreams of others." I said, "To this degree?" He said, "And much more than that." So I said to him, "What is required of me to do?" He said, "Your aura is strong and activating. It will not require the complex methods that we use with weak auras, so all I need from you is acceptance." I said, "Accept what?" He said, "Your acceptance of me doing your aura." I said, "I accept that." Amar got up from his place and placed his palm on my forehead, while I said to myself, "This guy seems to be having fun with me and wants to waste a little time." But while he was placing his hand on my head, I heard a voice that I will never forget. It made me turn right and left, which prompted Amar to ask me and say, "What's wrong? Did you hear anything?" I said to him, "Yes, a strong buzzing, like the buzzing of a fly flying." Amar laughed, removed his hand from my head, sat down, lit a cigarette and said, "Congratulations. Your aura has been activated and the fly is the proof." I said to him, "I think the flies are just evidence that we haven't showered for a while." Amar laughed hard and started coughing from the intensity of his laughter. Then he said, "The sound I heard was a fly flying at the end of the room." I was silent in amazement and then said, "What is this strange fly that buzzes with such force?" He said, "The fly is normal, but now you are no longer normal and your senses are as well." I said to him, "Is this caused by the aura?" He said, "Yes. And from now on, you will begin to notice strange things, so do not panic and remember that your abilities are different now." I did not understand the meaning of his words until the time for suhoor came and Amar placed in front of me the usual daily dish, which was soup with a little rice, the content of which I did not know. But it was a positive change from that mush. But this time when I tasted the soup, it tasted different. It was tastier, and the flavors were clear, and I could distinguish them. So I told him, "What did you put in the soup today? Does it taste much better than before?" He said, "I did not add anything, and it is the same soup that we have been eating since the beginning of Ramadan." I told him, "Impossible. The taste is completely different." He said, "I told you that activating your aura will change many things in your life, and this soup is the simplest of them." I took another sip from the bowl of soup and then said, "Onions, salt, a little pepper, and a strange ingredient. I don't know." Ammar said, "True. These are the ingredients of the soup." I said, "How can I know that now?" He said, "It seems that you do not understand the meaning of activating the aura. Forget it now and let us go to sleep." I didn't sleep right away that night and went back to the library to read, and was surprised when I started to complete a book I had started reading a few days ago. I found that my understanding of words and meanings became deeper, my reading abilities developed, and I completed more pages in a much shorter time. I was memorizing and absorbing every word in a way that frightened me at first, but with time I began to get used to my new abilities and enjoy them. Ammar told me once, one night in Ramadan, that I must hide my name and my mother's name from any magician so that he would not harm me. So I told him, "I know your name," and Ammar said, "It is not my name. It is the name I chose to represent me before the rest of the magicians, and you must have a name other than yours in order to out. They will not reach you when you become one of us." So I shouted at him forcefully and said, "I will not become a magician." He replied calmly and said, "Choose a name even if you do not want to become a magician." I was silent. Then I said, "How do I choose a name for myself?" He said, "How do you feel now?" I told him, "I feel afraid." He said, "Your name from now on is Kuf, and I will not call you anything else." Since then, I have been known in their world as Kuf. But I later discovered that Ammar was actually his real name, and he had not hidden it from anyone. And to this day, I still do not know why he told me that his real name was not Ammar. The end of the holy month of Ramadan was a real holiday for Ammar. He walked out the door on the morning of the holiday, very happy, as if he had just gotten out of prison. I watched him from the window and envied him that freedom. Ammar returned home and changed his clothes to go out. I told him, "To where?" he said, as he put on a new white abaya. "This is the first time you have asked me such a question. Have you become my guardian now?" I said to him, "Don't hesitate, Ammar. Where are you going?" So he left the door while putting on his turban and saying, "I will not be late. Come back and continue reading until I come back." Ammar left the house and left me on the first morning of Eid. I did not want to read at that time, but I did not know how to spend my time. I noticed that Ammar left and did not close the door, and I could not close it because the handle was outside the house, and I could not hold it without going outside the boundaries of the house, so I left the door open. After several hours, a tall, dark-skinned man entered and said, "Where is Ammar?" I said to him, "He left." He said, "Where to?" I said, "I don't know." He got angry and said, "Tell him that Fatima is looking for him." I said to him, "Okay," and the man left and closed the door on his way. Ammar returned about an hour after the man left. When he came in, I told him what that man had told me, and he was not interested. Ammar placed a closed pot in front of me and said, "Open the pot, and there is a surprise." I smiled and extended my hand towards the lid of the pot and raised it while smiling, but my smile quickly changed to sadness when I saw that disgusting mush again, and I said angrily, "What is this, Ammar?" "Our favorite food," he said, smiling. "We can go back to eating it now that Ramadan is over." So I said to him after I threw the cover on the ground and got up in front of him, "Your favorite food is yours, not mine." I entered the library and started reading angrily. After a few minutes, Ammar entered the library and said, "Morocco is approaching. Are you sure you want to stay tonight without eating?" I told him without paying attention to him, "I will never eat this harissa again. I'm tired of that." Ammar did not answer me and went out and closed the door. Days and months passed, and another year passed with Ammar, and my day became routine, with nothing but books and some side conversations with Ammar, in addition to that disgusting mush that I was exposed to when hunger destroyed my insides, although its taste improved a little after activating my aura. Last year with Ammar, the third and final year with Ammar, was the most beautiful of those years. I became very accustomed to his lifestyle, and during it, I began to enjoy reading because my knowledge deepened and increased in it, which was pushing me to learn more and more, to the point that I began to enjoy that mush, which after activating my aura was not so bad. The past year with Ammar was devoid of special events, but I remember that one night, while I was staying up at a bookstore, I heard or imagined that I heard someone talking to Ammar, so I got up. The chair and I put my ear to the library door to hear more clearly, and the conversation between Ammar and the voice stopped. The other sounded like a woman's voice, but I wasn't sure it was a woman at the time, and I wasn't sure I heard a conversation at all, so I went back and continued reading the book I had in my hand. The next night, what happened to me the night before was repeated, but this time I was sure that Ammar was talking to a woman, but their conversation was not clear. I tried to listen as much as I could, but I couldn't, so I was very surprised. After activating my aura, I could hear the smallest sounds, but I couldn't hear the conversation going on between them. The next day, I decided to confront Ammar and ask him about what I heard, but he denied it and said, "You seem delusional. I told you that activating your aura will make you hear strange things, but this time you are delusional." I told him, "I am not delusional, and you were talking to a woman. Why are you hiding this information from me? What do you think I will do?" He said, "There is no woman, so do whatever you want." Ammar left the house angrily after this sentence, but I did not care and began searching around the house for a sharp instrument. I wanted to make a hole in the door so I could see with my own eyes who he was talking to. After a long search, I found a small nail, but its head was sharp, and I started digging the door. Ammar came back before I finished making the necessary hole, so I hid the nail in my pocket and decided to drill every day when he came out. The conversation was repeated that night, but this time I did not get up to eavesdrop and stayed where I was, reading. This time I heard the woman laughing with Ammar, and I had a feeling that they were laughing at me. I don't know why, but that's my feeling at that moment. I continued digging for several days until I made the necessary hole in the door. I was eager to expose Ammar and confront him with the truth. When the evening came, I started reading, but my heart was stuck on knowing who this woman was, with whom Ammar had spent the whole night. I waited and waited for a long time and heard nothing. I expected that she was busy that night and would come the next night, but she did not show up, and I never heard her voice again. The last month with Ammar, I did not realize that my days with Ammar were coming to an end, and at that stage I had mastered a lot of their knowledge, so much so that Ammar offered me to be his assistant in case I found what I was looking for in his books, but I vehemently refused and said, "I told you before that I am not a magician, Ammar, and I will never be one."